Hello, my name is David Reinprecht. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutritionist, and I'm here to share my story with you. When I was 13 years old, I remember I liked this girl, and I was pretty shy back then, and I was a little heavier, a little chubby, and so I decided to write a little love letter, and but I was still too shy to give it to her. And it didn't take long. Of course, my friends were exposing me and they gave it to her. Now, at first she was all excited because she thought, hey, that's a guy who likes me. But then when she found out it came from me, she came up to me and she said, what do you think? Do you think I go with you? Look at you, you're fat. And you can only imagine, I was 13 years old, and that was a slap in my face. It was painful, yes, but it was the beginning of my career. From that moment on, I wanted to know everything about nutrition. So, next thing you know, I signed up for college to become a nutritionist. And after finished, I went to sports academy to learn everything about training. And after that, I signed up for the army, the Austrian army. And within that time, I learned a lot about the human body and how far you can push yourself. So, and when I was in the army, I had the pleasure to meet some soldiers, American soldiers, and I was always intrigued about, our United States and Arnold Schwarzenegger muscles and movies and everything. So I wanted to be, just like them. So when I talked to those American soldiers and they told me about, America, how great it is and everything, man, I was so inspired. I had this whole blueprint worked out, to come here and, to build a business and a career and so on. So I was super excited, and I finished the army, and the next thing is, I wanted to go to the United States and had everything ready. But at that time, I didn't have all the money together, so I had to work, day and night to save, because after the army, you don't have much money left because they don't really pay a lot within that time. So, but then unfortunately, I ended up in the drug scene, which was very unusual, like the party scene, So, a bunch of my friends, we went out, we partied, had a good time, and but my dream and everything got pushed back. It's kind of like you have this dream, and all of a sudden it gets locked up in a box and it gets pushed aside, and you kind of like, it fades out, you kind of forget about it, and you're more in the moment, partying and being with friends and stuff. So about 2 years later, I had this dramatic experience where one of my friends died in an overdose, and that of course changed everything. I had this huge wake-up call. Huge wake-up call, like, what are you doing? You had a dream, you had everything lined up, you have all this education, and yet you're not even using it. So yeah, that was a wake-up call. And from that moment on, I changed my whole life. And I'm not even kidding you when I say from one day to the next. There was no like gapping or like, I don't know, it was cold turkey, I stopped the party scene, I stopped drinking, not doing any drugs, nothing. And from that moment on, I was focused on my mission and coming to the United States. I signed up for a college program. It's a foreign exchange program you can do with universities and college. You come here, you improve your English skills, you sign up for different programs, different classes. I signed up for nutrition classes and business classes. And yeah, next thing you know, I'm here. And but before that happened, I had another dramatic experience, because we were 131 students from Austria, and my flight was supposed to go 2001, September 14th, and we all know what happened September 11, right? So yeah, so that was another had another huge impact in my life, because I felt like maybe it's not supposed to happen, because they have so many obstacles on my way to my journey. And Yeah, but at this point, everybody canceled. We were like 131 students. Pretty much every canceled except myself and one more guy. His name was Chris, also from Vienna. And of course, my parents were against it because they thought that right now it's very unsafe. But at that time, I mean, I sold my car, I sold my TV, I sold pretty much everything I had to sell just to have the money to pay for school. And so there was nothing that was holding me back no more. And if anything, I felt like it was more safe now because of that unfortunate incident. And so I came to the United States. So finally, after everything I went through, for the first time, I'm stepping out of the plane. I inhale this American air and step my first foot on soil, American soil. That was such an awesome feeling. I can't even describe with words how it felt. I was so emotional that I finally made it after everything I went through. And so moving forward from that moment on, I went to school. I met great friends, from all over the world at school. Had a fantastic time, and I loved it. I loved everything here. People welcomed me here. People are so friendly here. At first I had a little culture shock because people were just so nice. Like wherever you go, people are always talking to you. And where I'm coming from in Europe, it's a little different. People just don't just talk to you, especially if they don't know you. So I had to get used to that, but I liked it, it was great. And so a year has passed, I finished school, and of course now is the time where I had to find a job because I was only here in a student visa, and it's tough without a green card. So I had to find a job, under the table. So make a long story short, about 3 months later, I was able to find a job. And it was a very physical job, and it only paid $6 an hour cash. And I was in downtown LA in I can tell you, in not a good area. It was in Los Angeles, on Grand Avenue. So everybody knows that area. It's a very rough area. But I needed the money, I needed the job, I had to pay rent, I needed food and everything. And I remember there was this high riser and I was working night shifts, and I looked up to the American flag pretty much every night, kind of like as motivation, kind of like, it's okay, David, you can make it, you made it so far, don't give up right now. So thank God for this flag because it kept me going. And about 3-4 months in, I lost the job because my job basically was, painting different, parts, for different stuff. And there was a strike in the Long Beach harbor where parts couldn't arrive, couldn't come in, and nobody knew how long it would take. So, I lost my job, and then I really had a rough time because at that point, I had only so much money left. I had to pay rent and I had to buy food. So the first thing I had to cut was food because I couldn't afford it no more. So I was just living out of protein powder. Now, it's not the healthiest choice to live only from protein powder, and you also know, only eating protein and nothing else, doesn't give you a lot of energy. So I didn't also feel that great, and I lost quite a bit on muscle size. Then, rent was around the corner, and I was able just to pay the rent, just enough, that's it. And I had nothing left. In fact, I had $100 left. So I had $100 left and a phone, and I had to make a choice. Either to call my mom to send me a ticket to come back home, or to take $100 and somehow, I don't know how, and to make it with $100, which seemed impossible, right? So I don't know. I can't tell you how long I was sitting on the floor. I was super emotional. I don't know. I can't even tell you all that stuff that went through my head. With where everything I had to go through, and I made it so far, and then I was so close to, call my parents to send me a ticket. I was like, nah, that couldn't be it. And then at that moment, I was so close to pick up the phone. I remember there were 3 of my friends, and thank God I had those friends because they said something to me that at that time, back then, it was kind of painful, and it also pissed me off a little bit, because what they said was, you're not gonna make it, you're gonna come home. I give you a year, maybe a year and a half, and you will be back. Well, thank you, really thank you for that, because I probably would have come home and would have given up if I wouldn't had those 3 friends saying that to me, because in that moment they gave me so much strength to continue, to go on with everything, because I was so done with it. And I took the $100, I pushed the phone on the side, and at this point I was like, whatever happens, happens. And I went out, I went back to Goldstream in Venice Beach, and a few days later, I think it was 3 days later, I met this German girl, and she invited me to a party in Pacific Palisades, which is a pretty upscale, rich area, where I met German and Austrian business people. I didn't even know they were there. So I only had $100, and next thing you know, I had a job offer. So I would have never thought I could make it with the $100. But see, sometimes those little things in life, when you're so close to give up, but then you decide to go on, and you never know what you attract next. And that's what happened to me, and thank God I didn't give up. Otherwise I wouldn't be here talking to you, and I wouldn't have opened BioCorp, my supplement company. So, and it didn't take long. From that moment on, everything went great. Everything went up. About 6 or 8 months later, back then I met my wife. I got married. I got my green card. I was able to work. I was able to make money. I was able to open up my company. I was able to be a personal trainer and nutritionist, and money was coming in. And from that moment on, everything went great. And then I was working, I decided to work for a supplement company. I don't want to mention the name, but it was a very, reputable, big brand, supplement company that sponsors, a lot of professional bodybuilders, including Mr. Olympias. And yeah, and I thought, I was looking up to those companies. I thought, the bigger the company, the better the products, because all the professional bodybuilders and pro athletes are sponsored by them, so it must be good. Man, little did I know, because it was actually the opposite. I'm telling you, if you think the bigger the company, the better the products, so let me tell you, you are all wrong. Because, think about it. They have 2,000 employees, they're on the stock market, they have investors, it's all numbers. They have to keep up the numbers. And if they don't keep up with the numbers, then, people have to, be let go or else. And unfortunately, for the most part, the product had to suffer. The last resource to make extra money or to save was the product itself. So what a lot of people don't know is, and I also was on an Arizona TV show to announce that, because people don't know the difference about quality supplements. They see a supplement that's for $5, and then they see a supplement, as an example, that's for $30. Not knowing that people don't know that there's quite a difference when you buy the ingredients. You can buy the raw ingredients, at 65%, 75, 85, or 95% potency. Obviously, 95 is the most expensive one. But most companies, cut corners and make extra money that way, because they don't have to label that. What you label is basically, you label only what you mix together. Like if you have like 3 different ingredients, you mix that together, and that's what you see in the label. But you don't have to mention the potency of the raw ingredients. And that's where all the companies cut corners. And that was exactly why I wanted to open up my company, BioCorp, because we only use ingredients that are from the United States, that are tested, lab tested for purity and potency, and every single ingredient is at 95% potency. And that's why we have so many customers, and we're growing each year, because people appreciate the quality. And trust me, when you take the supplements, you notice the difference. And it's not a big secret. That's what you're supposed to get from everybody for your money. But unfortunately, supplement companies work in a different way. So think again. If you think the bigger the company, the better products, trust me, you're wrong. Stick for like mediocre, more medium, smaller companies, because we can focus on quality. If I make $5 less on a product, it's not gonna break me or make me. It doesn't make a difference for me. At least I can bring you, the best quality, and you're gonna be happy and come back to me. And that's how we gain new customers. So that being said, and that's how BioCorp was born. So that was basically my journey, since I was 13 years old until now. How it happened, how I became a certified master personal trainer, nutritionist, and why. I know it's a little funny story how it happened, and why I opened up, my own supplement company. So I had 3 huge impacts in my life that, pushed me to become a better person and to open up a company that actually stands for quality and not just making extra money. Because trust me, I'm not here to make extra money. Sure, money is a side effect, but trust me, I want you to be happy. And if you have any questions about our products or any concerns, you can email me anytime. It's on the website at info@biocorp.com. I will personally answer every question. Okay? Thank you so much.